The Prophet ﷺ said, Wasiba, you are here to inquire from me, what is righteousness and what is sin? And Wasiba said, I was amazed. I said, Prophet of Allah, this is exactly what I am here for. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-birru husnul khuluq. He said, righteousness is about having good character. And then he said, wal-ithm, as for sin, ما حاك في صدرك وخشيت أن يطلع عليه الناس. He said, sin is that which pricks into your heart and you do not want it to be exposed to people. The beauty of the statement is, sin is that which pricks in your heart. It doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. You can feel it. You can sense it. And sometimes when we listen to this voice, that moral compass in our head, then we are on good direction. But sometimes we have that inner voice calling upon us. This is wrong. You should not be doing this. And we ignore it. Next time it will call upon us, but we lose hearing of it. So it comes to the point that we become desensitized. We do not listen to the calls of the inner voice that is in us. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, in one hadith, he is describing the idea of a sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path. He said, as you are taking your journey in life into this straight path, he said there will be people calling you from the sides, and they wanting to take you out of this straight path. He said, ignore them. And then he said, on the way, he said there will be a caller that tells you to remain on this path. And then the Prophet ﷺ comments on this and he says, and this is guidance or admonition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He places in the heart of every believer. And the Prophet ﷺ sometimes would address this idea. For example, he would say, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ بَاتَ شَبْعَانًا وَجَارُهُ جَائِعٌ وَهُوَ يَعْلَمُ. He said, he is not of us, he who sleeps with a full belly and his neighbor sleeps with an empty belly and he knows about it and he doesn't do anything about it. Say, have you no conscience? You go to bed with a full belly. You know that your neighbor is going to bed with an empty belly with his children. And there is something that you can do about it. And you don't do anything about it. Have you no conscience? Is your conscience dead? So the Prophet ﷺ would say, you are not even one of us. You cannot really claim to be of the community of the believers. Not acceptable. So the first C, brothers and sisters, is the C of conscious. Must listen to your conscience. One time, this man works as an accountant in his company. And as an accountant, you have access to the finances of the company. And sometimes if you play a little bit with the numbers, you know, you may end up getting something. You can end up doing something to yourself. So this accountant was once approached by a man, and he explained a process to him by which the accountant will make money, but technically he will not be at fault. You can make the money, and technically you are not at fault. So he said, I will think about it. He went home, and he is thinking, technically I am not wrong, but I am feeling this way about it. And then his mother came. And he said, Mother, I would like to consult you about this thing. And he explained the process to her. And he said, Mom, I do this and I do that, and then by the end, I will make the money, but technically I am not at fault. Nobody can fault me. Technically, no problem. The mother said, Son, I really did not understand much of what you said. With all these numbers and all these complicated terms, she said, I just don't understand it. But I will be very troubled on the day when my son tries to go to sleep, but he is unable to go to sleep because something is bothering his conscience. Said, if you go to bed and you cannot make it to sleep because something is bothering you, she said, that day I will be very concerned for your well-being. The point is, be your own policeman. Many times we can be technically right, but ethically wrong. We can be technically right, but it does not look good. So the Prophet ﷺ said, you define sin from now on. If you have a living conscience, you are good enough to define what sin is. Because sin from now on is that which pricks into your heart and you do not want it exposed to people. You do not want it exposed to people. Usually we try to hide things that we are ashamed of. So the Prophet ﷺ said, the minute you feel this way, that you have got something pricking into your heart and you are ashamed of having it exposed, he say, pay attention. What you are doing is not right. That is the first C. That is conscience. The second component of having a good character is compassion. Our ability to feel for others. Our ability to feel with others. Our ability to feel for the pain of those who are around us. And subhanAllah, sometimes you look into the world, we say that these people have no conscience, and then we say these people have no rahmah in their heart, they have no compassion into their heart. How can they allow things like this to go on? And many times, by the way, the problems that we see in the world, the poverty that is going on in the world, the starvation that happens in the world, it is not because of lack of resources. There is so much resources in the world. Throughout history of mankind, no time was food production ever as much as we have it nowadays. It is not that the earth cannot cater to our need, but the earth cannot cater to our greed. There is a lot of resources, but there is not enough compassion. Let me give you an example. The 3 richest people in the world have more money than the 48 poorest countries in the world combined. 3 rich people have more money than 48 poor countries, the poorest countries in the world combined. Put them together and these 3 rich people have more money than these 48 countries. So what happened to the rahmah? What happened to the compassion? Where has it gone? And that is why the Prophet ﷺ would speak about this idea of rahmah. As a believer, you must be a rahmah for those who are around you. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ would say, "Ar-rahimuna yarhamuhum ar-rahmanu yawm al-qiyamah." Those who are compassionate in this world, Allah will be compassionate towards them in the hereafter. Don't we all the time say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the compassionate, the most merciful? So what good is it that we know Allah to be compassionate, but we ourselves, at a human level, do not become an embodiment of that compassion? And that is why we see in the hadith and in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, he was the most compassionate. But see, brothers and sisters, it is easy to be compassionate to those who deserve it. It's easy to have your heart moved by somebody who is sick, by somebody who is poor, by somebody who is in need. It's easy to have your heart moved by this. And remember, being kind to those who are kind to you does not make you kind. And being good to those who are good to you does not make you good either. Real compassion is when it is least expected. For example, one time Ibn Umar goes to the market after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. And as he is in the market, he chooses the things that he wanted to buy, some vegetables, some fruits, and he puts it in his bag, and he puts his hands in his pockets, and he's about to get the money out to give it to the guy, and it turned out that somebody has stolen the money of Ibn Umar. So he looked into the guy that is in charge of the produce section selling him. He said, "I am sorry, I think my money has been stolen." So the man calls upon the people in the market, "Ya ahl al-suq." He said, "Oh, people in the market, Inna ibn Umar qad suriq." He said that Ibn Umar has been robbed. He said, Ibn Umar has been robbed. Fad'u ala sariqihi. So call Allah upon to destroy the person that robbed Ibn Umar of his wealth and of his money. So everybody raises his hands. "Oh Allah, the thief that stole the money of Ibn Umar. Oh Allah, curse him. Oh Allah, do this to him." And then Ibn Umar raises his hands. And what does he say? He raises his hands. So now everybody is listening. What is Ibn Umar going to pray for? He raised his hands and he said, "Allahumma in kana muhtajan fabarik lahu fima akhadh." He said, "Oh Allah, if this person took it because he was in need, oh Allah, bless this money for him. Allahumma wa in kana sariqan faj'alha akhira dhunubih." I said, "Oh Allah, if he is a professional thief, oh Allah, make this one the last of his sins."